energy, you know.
Welcome to Sports Hangover. I'm J-Dog. That's Mike. And I'm starting the show because it's a big show, Mike. It is the day when one of the biggest superstars in sports is changing teams, and TSH is all over it. It's Freddie Freeman is going from the Braves to the Dodgers. Can you believe it?
Can't believe it at all. Oh, my God. I don't even know who that guy was. I saw that article. I'm like, who the hell is that guy? Does anybody really care? Also, wait.
It's the Brave. It's the Brave. Just want to explain what you said. That it's the Brave superstar, Mike, who is leaving the team after they win a World Series to go to the LA Dodgers. He's got a one-way ticket to LA just like me because I'm joining him next week. So we're both making the same money now, and we're both heading west. We're very similar paths.
Is baseball back? Is it officially coming back, or what's happening?
It's back. Since we last spoke, it's back. There's been a deal. Baseball opening day is in 2 weeks, which is crazy. I'm going to a spring training game on Sunday here in Florida. So I'll do some scouting. It's back. I know you're excited about it.
Super pumped. So is it on schedule? Like nothing happened, or was it originally supposed to? What did they shift? Obviously,
I love how we're just going with this topic. Yeah, no, I love. Let's just stick to this for the 30 minutes, and if you have football content, we'll save it, I guess. But listen, opening day is delayed. Yeah, opening day is delayed a week. It'll be April 7th instead of March 31st. The good news is the Dodgers and the Braves play at Chavez Ravine on April 18th. So I need you to mark your calendar because I'm coming over there and we're going to go to a Braves-Dodgers game.
So we're really going to the game this time. We're not going to sit outside and watch.
We're going to try.
The game. Okay.
There's been a long history of that. Not safe for podcasting, but long history.
Yes. All right. So baseball's back. All right. Big moves. What do you want to talk about?
No, we don't care. No, there's been a big move in reality, and it's Deshaun Watson has a new team, a new contract. I don't even know where to begin. Is it how the Falcons and Saints got played, how they were up? They were the last two teams, and they're not able to get Deshaun? Is it how the Browns are giving a guy who has 22 civil suits against him over $200 million guaranteed? Is it the Browns who are sending Baker out to bring Deshaun in? Like, where do you want to start?
Well, why don't we start with the two teams that didn't get him? Because if you were a quarterback there, like you're Matty Ice, you're Matt Ryan, you're Atlanta Falcon. You're like, oh shit, Deshaun's coming here. Clearly, these two teams didn't give up enough because Deshaun got traded for what? It was like 3 first-round picks or something like that, and a fourth and something else. It's forever picks. Now, I don't know if the Browns had that many picks because I know they were kind of bad for a while. But if I was Matt Ryan, do you still stick it out? Like, does my team believe in me, or is this, what am I doing? Should I just retire?
Matt Ryan delayed a roster bonus. He was supposed to make $7 million yesterday, and he delayed it until Tuesday for the Falcons to work on the Watson thing and then trade him if they were to get Watson. So I think he's okay with it. I don't know if he has a team in mind. I don't know if the Falcons will still end up trading him no matter what because they went down this Watson road. Or maybe he's like, yeah, that dude's 10 years younger than me, and he's very athletic, and he's better than me, so try to get him. And if you don't get him, I'll just stick around. So that's one option for him. It's the Saints on the other side who are really left. Is it Taysom Hill? Like what are the Saints going to do at quarterback?
Well, Jameis is coming back, right? He's
a free agent.
He's okay. Well, I'm sure they could re-sign him. I'm sure he'd want to come back. I don't think many teams could be.
Well, the Saints cleared like $80 million of cap room in the last 2 weeks with like restructuring. By the way, the NFL salary cap is not real. Apparently, you can just always restructure and move things around. So it's like shady investment banking or something. But the Saints have money, but there's no good quarterbacks out there. There's bad ones.
Well, yeah. I mean, last week we had a very quick show, but there are a lot of teams that still need quarterbacks, like the Seattle Seahawks definitely still need somebody. But it just doesn't. It's like these moves. I don't think there's been these many moves in the last 5 years of the NFL where people are going like even what's his name? Devontae Adams went yesterday to
shocking, right?
But what the Browns gave up. And now Baker's out, so hopefully they can trade him somewhere and get a little asset for it. But I don't know if they have a team that can actually win a Super Bowl. Now, I will say 2 weeks ago when there was even rumors about it, me and our mutual friend made a bet, a long shot bet for them to win the Super Bowl. We got great odds on it. And then last week we're like, Tony's like, oh, but he's not coming there. And I was so happy today when he actually did because we got great odds. But now I don't actually think they could win a Super Bowl because of what they have in place. Jarvis Landry is not there. And who else do they have as a receiver? Like, what do they got?
Well, you may have missed the move, but they added Amari Cooper last week too.
Okay. That's not something I'm
What do you mean okay? I mean, Cooper's pretty good just because he was tarnished at the Cowboys. He's still pretty good. He's in his 20s. He's in his prime. He's making too much money, 20 million, but they found a way to make it work with Watson and Cooper. And maybe that was a selling point in bringing Watson in. I
see.
think the Browns can certainly win a Super Bowl. You forget that Deshaun Watson brought the Texans to the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, and they were one win away from going to
Yeah.
a Super Bowl. So I feel like the Browns roster is better than the Bill O'Brien Texans days, at least, right?
Yes, I agree. I think, yeah, even with a backup quarterback with the Browns, like Case Keenum was going to potentially win a game too. I think
Yeah,
they
their
could definitely
defense is
do it.
good.
I guess I worry because it's so much money. So is this another, we're the Rams, we got one shot at it, we have to go all in this year? Because it seems like every other team, since we talked, it seems like people are literally playing Madden this week. People have,
Yeah.
like Devontae Adams, he just got, what was the stat? It was like Devontae Adams got the highest, most guaranteed money for from any non-quarterback player ever in the NFL, and he's getting paid as the, if he was a quarterback, he'd be getting paid as the 12th best quarterback in the league. That's a lot
That's
of money.
insane. It's
And,
insane.
and it seems like he loves Derek Carr. I know we're jumping all around, but have you seen the videos? I'm kind of into the move. I'm like, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams have like a true love for each other. There's videos of them hugging, playing after every game, even as a Packer, like coming up to him, smiling. I think it's going to be great chemistry with those two.
So don't you have friends, and I've seen this play out maybe
Yeah.
in our friend group, maybe in others, when they fall in love and they're just blind to the situation. They get blind when you're in love. And I feel
Okay.
like Devontae Adams fell in love with Derek Carr in college, and he always wanted to play with him again. And I think he's blinded by it because you definitely want to play with Aaron Rodgers before you play with Derek Carr. But he is loving
But
Derek Carr, and he wants to be reunited. And now they are. And I'm pumped for Vegas. Like we've talked about that a lot. Like
yes,
Vegas needs to be lit, and now it will be. Listen, we're both in LA. I think we should go over to
we're going.
Vegas for a game this year.
We're definitely going. Now, last time I went to Vegas, got COVID watching a Knights game, but
Oh no,
I will still
no.
go to. I still go to
I'm
Vegas.
sure there won't be any variants by this
No,
fall,
no,
right?
it'll be fine. But I think it's just interesting how he wanted to get out of Green Bay so bad. He even got franchise tag. He didn't want to play under the franchise tag, but he's like, I don't want to play with Rodgers. Now, I don't think Rodgers is a bad guy, but something's going on there. He took a lot of money. He took the guaranteed money. He's going to go play for what, 4 or 5 more years. I don't think he can play that long. I don't think he
Yeah,
has it like emotionally inside of him to continue
yeah.
on. But Devontae must know something, right? Like he wanted to play with Rodgers, then all of a sudden it's like Rodgers doesn't want to be here. I got to get the hell out of here. And he must have saw something a little better over in Oakland, or not Oakland, Vegas. Like something's going on, right?
Well, Roger signed that 3-year deal. So now I'm thinking, would they ever have traded Adams before he signed the deal? And would he have still signed the
Mm,
deal if he knew he would be traded? And reports are that yes, he knew that Adams wasn't happy. He knew Adams wanted to play with Carr, and he's okay with it. Maybe they have a plan to make a trade
sure.
for a receiver, sign a receiver, and then you start building out the lineup. Rodgers and Adams are so good. They're so good together. Can Adams even be that good without Rodgers? I'm skeptical of it. So I don't know that that's money well spent on one hand. On the other hand, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do in Green Bay? Because they weren't winning titles with Devontae Adams. They haven't won a championship with Adams. Now their team got significantly worse. They have these draft picks, but rookies aren't going to come in and win a Super
No.
Bowl for Rodgers.
Can you
So
name one
what's
receiver
the
right
play?
now in Green Bay?
Randall Cobb is there. He's old.
Is he there? Is he going to be there? And
He's
like
there.
he seems like he should be retired, right? Like he's been there too long.
Aren't you a Valdez Scantling guy?
I'm a big, Valdez Scantling guy. I mean, I don't think he's the answer to them winning a Super Bowl. And after last year, like playing San Francisco, not being able to put up more than 13 points against them, it doesn't look promising. And now it looks like the AFC West is like the legitimate powerhouse of the NFL. Everybody went over there. So everybody's just stacking like, oh shit, these guys got this. I got to go get this. I got to go to this. Right before we did the podcast, Juju's over in KC now. I don't know what's going on. It seems like everybody just got free money all of a sudden.
The AFC West is nuts. I want to get to the AFC West and the AFC in general in a second. The thing about the Watson trade and the Adams trade that jump out a lot are they both got paid immediately. They both got paid so much, almost like they're free agents. They got paid like crazy money that they would only get on the open market. Like I know there was competition for them, but the teams are giving them so much money and they're giving up so many draft picks. And it's both. And often in free agency, you don't have to give up the draft picks. Or when you make a trade, normally you don't have to give out a new record-breaking contract. But the Raiders and the Browns both did those things. It's like so many resources and one human being. And again, one of the guys is still in legal trouble. He's not out of
Yeah.
that yet.
Well, all right. So two things. After the Rams winning the Super Bowl, does it make the model of give up the draft picks, get these guarantees, play it, and if you value draft picks, okay, go do it. Go develop a guy for 3 years. I'm going to go win a Super Bowl right now and I'm going to go compete because you can't win. I mean, listen, you can definitely win through the draft, but you're not going to win today. You're going to win maybe 4 years. You're going to develop the player. You're going to get him better. And if you're a team that cares about winning, that's not the way you want to go. So I think if you don't care about the draft picks, go for it. My next one, conspiracy. Do you want to go back to
I
that?
do. Can I just jump on
Yeah.
that? I think that's a problem for the NFL. If teams say that, then there's two types of teams, right? Then there's the type of teams that are trying to win a championship, like the Rams do every year, like the Raiders and maybe the Browns are doing now. And then there's another whole set of teams, the teams
Yeah.
that are accepting the draft picks, the teams that are getting rid of their star players. And the
Yeah.
NFL is built on exciting games and competitive games and not knowing who's going to be in the playoffs. You don't want to enter the season with 16 teams who are trying to win and 16 teams who are stacking draft picks playing for the future. That's not good for the NFL.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue at some point if this trend does continue. And I give you credit for that. The Rams are the team that are kind of showing the way. Yeah, draft picks don't matter, and yeah, it can work out. Where I think before teams were skeptical that it could work out.
Now, I don't think all teams are looking at like draft picks don't matter because I think some teams are like comfortable with what they have. They're like it seems like the Giants are very, very comfortable with Daniel Jones and not making
Way too comfortable.
they're not making any moves at all. So I don't really know. I guess it's just everybody's philosophy, right? Like I don't know. Are you watching that new Lakers documentary? Not documentary, like Lakers mini series on HBO right
No,
now?
no, is it good?
Really good. I really like it. You can kind of see like they're just talking about owners and the vibe. It was like the 70s, they're all like doing drugs and smoking cigs inside everywhere. But it just kind of represents like everybody has a different philosophy on different ways of doing their team or doing their roster. And I think that goes with all these NFL teams. Like they all want to win, but they just don't know at what cost is it can I win? Because the Rams took a risk. If they didn't actually win a Super Bowl that year, they would have been done, right? Like Von Miller was the 1 year. He's signed in Buffalo now. He's a little old. I don't know why they were excited
They gave
about
him a lot of money, right?
that. Yeah, everybody's getting a lot of money.
Yeah,
But all right, so I have a conspiracy about this.
yeah.
Here's my thing. He was shopping around, right? He's like, go shop me around, see what's going on. Do you think it's because he knows something's coming down and he needs that guaranteed money? Because if he gets in trouble or something happens, he at least still gets that money. Is that possible? Like I'm sure there's somewhere in his contract that probably voids it. But to me, it seemed like the Panthers weren't willing to give a guaranteed money. The Saints weren't. The Falcons. All these people. And then all of a sudden you have the Browns fucking desperate for anybody other than Baker. They're like, sure, yeah, come on over. Like, we don't care. We'll give you all the money in the world. We want.
That's the documentary I want to watch is Deshaun
Yes.
Watson's week in review. I want that
Yes.
covered well because what's been going on? Like it was the four teams, the Panthers were in the mix. We talked a lot about the Panthers over the years being a suitor for Watson because they've always been thirsty. It was them and the Dolphins like the whole
Yeah.
last year. Of course, very Dolphins now that they are not involved in Deshaun Watson, not able to add him once he's cleared, but they were the ones chasing after him when he was still having criminal charges pending. That's very Dolphins, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened. I want to know
Yes.
this money, is it actually guaranteed if he is still convicted? Is there a clause in that? Like you said, I would think the Browns protect themselves, but they say guaranteed. So what does guaranteed mean in that way? And why would the Browns offer more than the Falcons and Saints? All these owners are rich. The Falcons owner owns Home Depot. The Saints owner, she is like the queen of New Orleans. She like runs the whole town. The Browns owner, he owns Pilot gas stations in the Midwest. And apparently there's hundreds and hundreds of these truck stop gas stations. So they're all super, super rich in their own ways. Why would like another extra 10 million from the Browns and the Home Depot guy with the Falcons says, I can't do that. That's just a few tools being sold and he's going to make that money back. So I do want to know how this all happened.
I don't know either, but it just doesn't seem like a team. I guess, I don't know. I guess anywhere was better than being under Bill O'Brien and Houston, right? So it's like, where do I go? This is the number I want. And now he's going to set a standard for maybe other quarterbacks that might get signed. How much did Russell get? He didn't get that much, right? Wilson
Nah,
got,
Russell's our age. Deshaun's younger.
Yeah, I know Deshaun's younger, but he hasn't played in a while. We'll see what I don't know. I'm very curious to see this year because this year is kind of wild. Everybody's moving all. I mean, we didn't even talk about like Carson Wentz going to the Commanders, their new
No, we don't
name.
have to.
I know so much random stuff.
You made a great point earlier about the AFC West. So not only are they stacking quarterbacks and playmakers, we mentioned Devontae Adams. Khalil Mack is now in the AFC West to go harass Patrick Mahomes, to go harass Russell Wilson. By the way, Russell Wilson is in that division now. Devontae Adams is in the division. And then you look around the AFC, it's so lit. And this was before the offseason. We had the conversation about the emergence of Joe Burrow, the emergence of some of these guys in the AFC. Now Watson stays in the AFC. Now Russell Wilson's in the AFC. If you don't have a great quarterback, not even good or solid good. Like Tua is one of the worst quarterbacks in the AFC. If you don't have a stud quarterback and you play in the AFC, I don't know how you're going to make the playoffs. Like the Steelers, when are they going to ever make the playoffs again until they have a good quarterback? Because you look around their division and it's Lamar, it's Deshaun Watson, and it's Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And listen, even Derek Carr isn't that great, but he's like a kind of a gunslinger kind of guy. And it feels like he has a shot sometimes to do something. So hopefully Devontae does something there. But yeah, it's almost like Tom Brady saw this and it's like, I got to come back. Like, I'm going to go play for the NFC and I'm going to take this division. There's no one there. No one has quarterbacks. This whole division has no quarterbacks, right? The Saints don't have a quarterback. The Falcons want to get rid of theirs. And the Panthers, they want to get rid of theirs too. It's like, this is easy. I'm going to win.
That's why all of us Bucks haters, and we only hate because of their success because of Tom Brady, and all of our fans, our friends that are Bucks fans. I guess you, title town. I guess you qualify for that. It's confusing what teams you like. I sometimes forget the Bucks are involved in that. But you're right. It was down to the Panthers and the Falcons. Or the Saints and the Falcons, and the Panthers were in at one point. So we knew Deshaun Watson was going to join Tom Brady's division, and at the very minimum, maybe the Bucks would miss out on Deshaun Watson, and maybe Brady would play one more year, and then Watson would dominate the division for years to come. Now he didn't do that, and you're right. There's no good quarterback in that whole division. Are there any other good quarterbacks in the NFC? It's Brady and Rodgers, and who at this point is Jimmy G like the third best quarterback in the NFC?
Jimmy G is nowhere. He should not be on that top list. Aaron Rodgers is good, but he's got nobody to throw to, so he has to get somebody. So I have a bullshitter believe about Russ. So bullshitter believe Russell went to Denver, and I do not think it's going to work. And I wanted to know, is that bullshitter believe? Because this is my reason why I don't think it will work. He hasn't really shown anything. Like you could say the last 2 years, right? Last 2 years has kind of been like not really there. Remember, I had like this theory like 2 years ago, like he had the kid keeping him up at night, going home. That's exhausting. I don't have a kid, but I could only imagine it's probably exhausting. He just hasn't been into it. Now, I know he's in a new place. He's in Denver. He's excited. But I'm going to say, I don't think Denver makes the playoffs this year. I think maybe they're the fourth in that division. I don't think they're going to be that good. I don't think Russ still has. He's not the chef that we wanted him to be. We let him cook, and he wasn't able to cook. I'm out.
You're basing this, and first of all, this is shocking for you to hear. You're out on Russ. Yeah. Russ is your guy. If you had to pick one quarterback before, like a few weeks ago, Russ is your guy.
I love them.
Seattle's your team. Russ is your guy, and you were sad that they may be breaking up. And now that they have, it sounds like you're siding with the team over the player who left, and that's unlike you, right? Because you always say it's a players' league. So I'm a little surprised by all of this. You don't like him getting old, but you don't like us getting old either. So I get it.
Well, I know that when I'm getting old, things don't work the same. And if you think you can still do what you could do 5 years ago, you got another thing coming.
And that's what I teased. And that's a great point. That's what I teased about Russ last week. They're paying him way too much money. We wake up with pains. Imagine the pains that guy wakes up with. Imagine how much slower he is, how much worse his arm strength is. I believe what you're saying about Russ. I don't believe the Broncos situation will work out for many reasons. One is the division we're talking about. He's going up against Mahomes and Herbert and now Carr and Adams. That's better than it was, and it's going to be tough. The Broncos could certainly be the worst team in their division, even with Russ. You look across their defense. Their defense is supposed to be very good. That's what the Broncos have normally won championships with, a good defense. It's not good right now. Von Miller is gone. You can't name a starter on their defensive side. You can't do it. And then you think about the Seahawks. The one thing I would knock you for is the Seahawks did protect. I'm sorry, they did not protect Russ, and that's not a good place to look at how you would form your opinion on Russ with the Seahawks. They did not play very well.
They had some receivers. I wouldn't say, Carson was the best running back. I felt like they were trying, but there was no. You almost kind of felt like they were stagnant. Like nothing was evolving over there. It was just kind of like, here we go, here we go. Listen, I don't think what they did is evolving the team at all by getting fucking Drew Lock or who's it?
No,
Who
no.
is it?
Drew Lock, yeah,
It is
that's who it
Drew Lock.
was.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a mess and we'll see. But it's wild. I don't know if I can keep track of everybody that moved this year. When we do a fantasy football draft, I'm like, who's where? Are they still in the league? Is still playing? Deshaun's back. Do you still have him in our keeper?
I still have him. I kept him. I didn't want him
All
to put
right.
on the Browns. I thought the Falcons with maybe with a Julio Jones reunion with Kyle Pitts. Calvin Ridley will be back in 2023. We never talked about that. We never even talked about Brady's return. There's so many things. You're right.
I
There's
know.
so many things that have happened,
What do
and the
you
news cycle is spinning out of control.
Well, all right, real quick. Do you want to just talk about Troy and Joe Buck? We didn't talk about
I
it. We talked
do.
about
I
Troy
do.
going over, like Aikman being there, but then
Yeah.
Joe joining him literally like, I don't know, an hour or two after the show ended.
This would have been shocking to me if you told me this a few weeks ago that not one but both would go to
Yeah.
ESPN. I thought you're happy at Fox, you make good money at Fox, you get good games at Fox. You have the Super Bowl coming up. We talked about that last week. They have 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls are on Fox, and they both looked at that schedule and said, "Nah, I'd rather not call a Super Bowl for 6 years." Like the way things are going, we might not be here in 6 years. So to wait that long for your next Super Bowl is really asking a lot. And I know they're getting paid. They're getting paid at Fox. Don't feel bad for Buck and Aikman on their Fox
Yep.
salaries. They're making 11, 12 mil a year. Now they're making 15, 16 mil a year.
So I have stats. So Troy is getting paid. Should I call him Troy or Aikman? I think Aikman's better. Troy sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Aikman's getting paid 18 million. Tony Romo at CBS is getting paid 17.5. And Joe
So
Buck
it's
is only
clearly
getting,
a one-upper, right?
yes. But Joe Buck only getting paid 15, which I felt like Joe Buck is the guy you needed more than Aikman. Right? Like Joe Buck has that voice. Like he is the voice, right? He's been at Fox. I have 30 years at Fox. And now Fox has to fill the slot.
30 years. How's he even that old, right?
He doesn't look that old. Yeah. He's
No.
like, did he start as a child? But now they have to fill all those slots, right? He does the voice of all the Fox broadcasts for the World Series. Like that's
Yeah.
the voice, and I don't understand how they let them go. Like, couldn't you just be like, I'll pay you? But they're like, no, you guys go. Like, we don't care. Like, what is Fox doing? It doesn't make any sense to me.
There's a theory there that if you have a great matchup on a Sunday afternoon, if you have the Bucks and the Packers and the schedule gods work out, and as long as it's a good matchup, people are going to watch the Fox lineup no matter what. They're going to watch it for the game. They don't care if it's Buck or Burkhart, if it's Greg Olson or Aikman. ESPN is different. ESPN doesn't get those good games. And until they do, you can argue you need the good broadcaster. So they did it with the Manning cast. They brought us in with the Manning cast. We're all talking about it. We're all watching it.
Yep.
I may not have cared about certain games they were doing, but I'll check it out for Peyton and Eli.
Like
I think
hanging
Buck
out.
Aikman brings more gravitas. When you have, a Steelers Bengals game on Monday night, you're not really into it. You don't have any fantasy guys. You don't have a bet on it. You might not watch it, but if you know it's Buck Aikman, you know it's a big time broadcast. You know the Manning cast is there. Maybe you do. I don't know that any of that money is worth it for these guys. I don't know that Romo needs to make that much. I don't know that Aikman needs to make that much or Buck needs to make that much. You made a point, though, about Aikman getting more than Buck. I think that's just a one-up on each side. So Aikman had to go over Romo, 17.5 to 18. You can argue who's better. I would say Romo's better for his enthusiasm. I think people don't love him as much as they did maybe 2 years ago when he first broke on the scene.
He's still good. I just wouldn't say Aikman is like my favorite guy in the booth. I always felt like he was just like, we got these guys. But I always liked Joe Buck. I just didn't like Aikman as much.
I think Aikman's pretty good. Buck's probably better, you're right. But
Yes.
the highest paid play-by-play guy in the world is probably Jim Nantz at like 12 million. So Buck just had to clear 12. So 15 is clearing it by a lot. He's going to work less. He's not going to do baseball for ESPN, which is surprising. Maybe he does some late season games or playoffs, but he's not there on any of their regular season broadcasting.
He doesn't have to travel, right? So I was looking at the thing. There's a 3-week stretch in October 2020 where Buck worked 17 games in 18 days, calling 13 baseball games in Arlington, flying to Tampa, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Charlotte, and Charlotte for the NFL commentaries in between. So it's like he's getting paid more for doing less, working one night a week. It sounds great. And I don't know. It just is like, what direction are we going in? Because it doesn't make sense to me streaming wise, because this is This is Monday Night Football. This is pretty big. Thursday nights now on Amazon Prime, which I imagine a lot less people are going to watch because it's on Thursday night. We still don't know. We don't know who's hosting that, right? It's like kind of Al might maybe go over there.
They
Maybe.
say he's 99%, but it hasn't been confirmed. So with
Yeah.
all these movements, maybe he's asking for more money.
Yeah.
Maybe Fox is going after Al. I think it's still kind of
Oh.
a slightly open door until we hear it's finalized based on everything else.
It just seems like there's a very elite amount of guys because sometimes have you ever watched like who does the NFC like the Bucks game? Sometimes there's another guy that isn't great, but he's like a decent announcer, but he's got that like I don't know, he's like the NFC South guy. He's always on those
Chris
broad.
Myers does a lot of NFC South,
He's on like
right?
the Panthers and Bucks
He
games.
does, yeah.
He's not great. Like I couldn't see him in prime time, but he's a solid broadcaster. But who are they bringing up? Like Aikman and Joe Buck, they started 30, not
Yeah.
Aikman, but like they started so long ago. Who's the next in line? Like who's going
It's
to Fox?
shocking. The Buck thing is just so shocking because he's been there so long. He does both sports. You think of him on Fox. You can't think back to the Pat Summerall days. We were literally children
No.
before Joe Buck was doing the best game on Fox. They're going to bring up Kevin Burkhardt to do football. I think he's really good. He's a
Look
number
up
two
Kevin Burkhardt.
guy right now, so you can look him up. Maybe you'll recognize him. Normally, Mike, he would do the 1 o'clock game, 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and then Buck and Aikman come on later. Of course, we're watching Red Zone on Sundays. So, again, the announcers on Sundays don't matter as much, and that might be another reason why Buck and Aikman said, let's go to a window where everyone's
Oh,
watching us. I don't want to be on Red Zone.
so it's this guy Kevin Burkhardt and what's his name from the Panthers?
Greg Olson. I mean, they don't have anyone else. He's their number
This
one
is the
analyst. So
team.
they'd have to sign. They'd have to
It-
sign someone if not
It's
Olson.
like the Bizarro version of like Joe Buck and Aikman. Basically, it's like you want somebody. Well, we got these guys. These are not as good, but these will fill in.
The quarterbacks always get the most money and are known as the best analysts. We've never seen a tight end like Greg Olson be the number one analyst. So that'll be weird. They
Well,
tried it with Jason Witten.
yeah,
That didn't work.
it didn't work out at all. Yeah,
Exactly.
that was
I
really
think Olson's good. But I don't think of him as a number one either. And you look at Romo at one network, Aikman at one, Collinsworth, they're clearly number ones.
Yep.
Drew Brees went to NBC. And if Drew Brees was a free agent right now, he'd be getting paid. He may have gone to
No.
Amazon. He may have.
He is
I know.
not. He
I
does
know.
not deserve to be on national TV in a primetime slot. Get that man off.
That's not fair to say. He's new. It's Drew Brees. He's the preeminent name in broadcasting. Ben Roethlisberger's not in broadcasting. Phillip Rivers not in broadcasting.
Yeah.
Of that generation, it's Peyton, it's Eli, it's Brady. Only those guys do Manning cast. Brady still plays, and then it's Drew Brees, and that's the guy you're going to listen to.
You
I
know
think
who
he's going to
would
get
be
better.
good? Big Ben would be awesome in the booth. He would.
I think Phillip Rivers would actually be better. He was a loose cannon.
He was. Yeah, but like Drew Brees to me just seems like a boring guy watching football, trying to say all the right things. And I don't want somebody to say all the right things. I want you to be like a little spicy, like Aikman last year, like talking shit about the team, like, oh, that's not good, like doing this. It's like Drew is too positive. I don't need you to be all positive and shiny.
He's learning. We were positive like that in our second year of the podcast.
We were
Now
not.
by year 20, Mike, we're just
Salty
firing
shit.
takes back at each other.
Yeah, all right. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Because he was not calling games, right? Like Drew Brees was in the NBC.
Right.
Like
He's just
room.
doing Notre Dame games, so they're kind of easing him in, maybe you could say.
Yeah, well, hopefully, we'll see what happens.
But I think if he was a free agent and he was retiring right now, he would get paid by Fox because they want a bigger name than Greg Olson. So I think Kevin Burkhardt will definitely be the play-by-play, and I think keep your ears open to who they might get to be the analyst. Amazon was talking to a lot of people. I think we talked about that last week. They tried to get Sean McVay, which, by the way, these analysts make more money than the highest-paid NFL coaches. That's kind of mind-boggling. And it's got to be much easier than being an NFL head coach. I'm not saying it's easy, but much easier than doing that.
Yeah.
So McVay got the offer. He didn't do it. John Lynch, the Niners GM, got the offer. He didn't do it. And then Aikman was trying to go to Amazon, but then ESPN outbid them, and they had to settle on Herb Street. So I don't know who else Fox can go for, but you're right. I don't think of Olsen as a number one.
No, I don't either. Well, we'll see what happens. I just thought that was a lot of big moves. I mean, I'm excited to see because I think isn't Red Zone up or Sunday Ticket is up for sale. So maybe that goes to Amazon or Apple TV. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but I'm excited to see where all these things go because Red Zone I love, and I don't want to have, if I could just have Apple TV or Amazon Prime and not have to pay like a Hulu or a YouTube TV plus an additional fee to get it, I think would be great. We'll see what
It's
happens.
hard. Streamers have to make money too. A few things to note before we wrap it up. Browns
Or
fans,
Peacock could
apparently
get
a
it,
lot of
right?
them. What?
Peacock? Can Peacock get a streaming thing going on?
So I think the Browns fans are not exactly happy with what Deshaun Watson is bringing to the team. They're not happy they guaranteed all this
Sure.
money to someone who's so guilty, obviously,
Well, not
and,
guilty. He
and
was
question.
he was acquitted, right? It was all removed, nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
great lawyers, right? Money can buy great lawyers. We got to keep that in mind. And he does still have 22 civil suits, so those remain. And so a lot
Okay.
of Browns fans are saying boycott these kinds of things. So we'll see how that works out. Also, I'm seeing rumors, Mike, and this
Ooh.
might go to your point that Seattle might just be tearing it down. The Packers have their eye on DK Metcalf right now, and they are working on a trade for DK
No, they're
Metcalf with the
not.
new picks they got in the Devontae Adams trade.
No, they're
And
not.
that could be amazing if they could add DK Metcalf and then bring someone else in. That could be better than Adams in the end of the day. So don't say the Packers are stupid until the offseason's over. How about that?
They are stupid, but it's gonna be a sad day. Seattle, if they're gonna burn it down, I guess might as well burn it down, right? Just like get rid of everything. Just tear it all down. It's done.
Yeah, why is Pete going to do this season with that roster? Because that roster looks like one of the worst in the NFL right now.
Pete's too old. He does not have time for a rebuild. He looks young.
I
That
know.
man is almost like 75
I
years
know.
old. He's gonna
Looks
have a
great.
heart attack on the side of the field. He cannot do this any longer. Like he needs to win another Super Bowl. So give that man a Super Bowl.
I know you're anti-aging. That guy is the king
That
of
guy,
it.
yeah, he figured it out. He's looking good. He's always feisty on the
Really
side,
good.
got a lot of energy. All right, good show. You got anything else? Or you want to go? You want to keep going?
This is the last show for me on the East
What?
Coast. So we've been
Okay.
doing it 10 years.
I thought you were tired.
Should just drop the
Jeremy
period
is
on that.
done. Yeah.
Last show on the East Coast. So I don't think we're
Okay.
going to podcast in person too much, maybe special
No.
occasions, but we're a West Coast podcast starting next week, just saying.
I mean, we could definitely, if we have USB mics, we could sit on the beach and just like yell at each other from across the way. You remember the old ways where I had to like lock you in another room to go record because we couldn't figure out how to record in the same room?
We've had many weird configurations. We should go through all the places we recorded a podcast. Tulum balcony was one of our best.
Yeah, I didn't like the one where we I flew red eye and then we recorded right when we landed in a hotel. That was a bad one.
Oh,
in
yeah, you
Charlotte.
flew. I didn't fly. Yeah,
Yeah.
at a hotel in North Carolina. Raleigh, I think. If
Yeah.
you live in Raleigh, you're not doing it right.
All right, good show. Check out thesportshangover.com. See you next week.